Algebra 2 section 4.4 deals with transformations. So basically what a transformation is, you're moving from one object, from one place to another. Okay? First we're going to be dealing with what is called a vertex matrices. And you're used to putting data into matrices, okay? But now we're going to use actual points on a graph and put them into a matrix. And it's pretty simple. All we're going to do is going to take all the x's and put it on top and all the y's and put it on the bottom. So there's always going to be two rows. Unless it's a 3D graph, then you'll have 3, x, y, and z. But in this case, we're just dealing with two-dimensional. So this is my x and y, x and y, x and y. So that means this is going to be, my x's are 3, 4, and 2. And my y's are 2, negative 2, and 1. And this is how I turn points into a matrix. And it's very important that you know how to do that, because when we transform, when we shift, you're going to need to put it into a matrix so you can have the resulting answer. But the other way it works as well, so let's say you have an answer like this and they want you to find the points. You know that one point is the top bottom, here's another point, here's another point. So it works both ways. So I should put the arrow on both ways. So basically transformation is moving points on a graph. Sometimes those points will make a shape. They'll make a line, they'll make a square, they'll make a triangle. But when you're doing a transformation, you don't focus on the shape, but you focus on each individual point. So for example, if I'm moving A, the original is called my pre-image, okay? And then once I shift it, this is my image, this is my last result. And so this has to do with a lot of, movies that you're watching, like Transformers and Finding Nemo, all of those animation, special effects type thing. They break everything down to points and shift the points. And because of it, they keep the whole, because you don't see Nemo one place and he's swimming in the movie and then all of a sudden he's gotten tiny. Okay, so they need to use this kind of transformation to move the animation from one point to another. So because of that, we're focusing on each point. And the original is called our pre-image. Our final result is called the image. And anytime I've moved it, I'm going to call it prime. So A is shifted over here, which is called the translation, and it's called A prime. So what that means is if I shift A again, that's going to be A double prime. So that little thing tells you how much it's moved. This B becomes B prime, C becomes C prime, and then at the end of it, I can go ahead and connect the dots. But again, we're going to focus on just each point. So go ahead and make sure you write that down and you do the vocabulary. We have 2 examples that go with this. This is a pretty lengthy section. It says to find the image of ABCD. So we have ABCD. Let's find this first. A is negative 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Down 1. So this is A. Okay? And it tells me B is negative 2. Down 1. This is my B. C is negative 1. Down 4. D is negative 3, negative 5. This is D. So this is what my shape looks like. Now, please bear in mind that this is not gonna, this would look a lot nicer if I had a graph paper. But this is a homemade graph, so bear with me if the shapes don't look exactly alike, but it should get my point across. So it wants me to find the image. So this right now, this is my pre-image. And it wants me to find my image. And my image has been transformed, or been moved, to 3 units to the right, and then 4 units up. So that means if I move to the right, and this is an important key, I'm going to write here. Okay? If I'm going to move to the right, I'm going to, and left and right, this is my x and this is y. So left and right, I'm going to be moving x. So I'm going to add to my x. If I'm moving left, I'm going negative, so I'm going to subtract my y. Okay? That has to do with up and down. If I go up, then that means I'm going positive. So up means I'm going to add to my y, sorry, left is subtract from my x. And then down would mean I subtract from my y. So up and down, I'm moving my y, left and right, I'm adding x. So what that means is because I'm moving 3 units to the right, I'm going to add 3 to each one, and then I'm going to add 4 to my y. So add 3 to my x's and 4 to my y. So there's 2 ways you can do this. I could just take each individual point. So for example, in order for me to find a prime, I could just move a prime to the right 3, 1, 2, 3, and move it up 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. This would give me -2 up 3. I should get the same results if I just added here. So -5 times plus 3 is -2, and -1 plus 4 is 3. So that should give me the same one. So either way, for me, like this is a little bit more confusing. Sorry, this is a prime. So I just like to do the math here. So -2, so b is going to be -2 plus 3, which gives me +1. And then -1 plus 4, which would give me +3. This would be my this would be b, so this would give me 1, 3. Okay? My next one would then be c, -1 plus 3, which would give me 2. Yes. And then -4 plus 4, which would be 0. So 2, 0. So this is my c. Oh, and these are all primes. And my last one is -3 plus 3, which is 0. And then -5 plus 4, which is -1. So 0, -1. This would be D. And this would be my new shape. Now again, it doesn't even look close. But that's because my lines are so much more spread out here and so much. But you get the point. You shift left or right, and up and down, however many you tell them, and that is your new translation. You could do it directly to the points, you can do it here. Now, on this one, go ahead and do page 198, number 1 and 2. Page 198, number 1 and 2, and make sure you have this on your notes. Okay, and we have one last example problem. Now, there's a little key concept, there's 2 key concept blocks on page 187 and 188, because the last section of what we've been doing, the last problem we did, it tells you exactly what to move it, 3 to the left, 3 out. Sometimes they're going to use other transformations, which you learned in geometry, and basically there's reflections that reflect, rotations, that actually rotate, and they give you a key concept because they tell you exactly how to find the answer. So for example, this is my image, penta, P-E-N-T-A, and it gives me the points of penta, and it wants me to reflect across the x-axis, so that it's telling me here's my x, here's my y. It's telling me that there's a mirror in x, and they want me to show the mirror image. In order for me to do that, I have to go, because of this term reflection, so it'll say either reflection or rotation. Reflection is page 187, rotation is 188. So because of this term reflection, I'm going to find it. It tells me that if I want to reflect on the x-axis, I have to multiply my vertex by 1, 0, 0, -1. Now, you can graph this, right? And then you're going to multiply 1, 0, 0, -1. I'm going to leave the graphing up to you because I don't have enough room on here. The graphing is pretty simple. You're just going to graph these points, and when I get the answer, we're going to graph it. So I'm going to delete this graph. But please do finish it in your notes so that we have room to do the math. Okay? So I'm going to take these, and I'm going to turn penta into points. Into a vertex. So that I'm going to take all the x's, okay, this is my x and y, and I'm going to put it here. And all the y. So -3, 1, 0, -1, -1, 3, negative 3, negative 4. Okay, and it wants me to multiply by 1, 0, negative 0, negative 1. Now, please pay attention. This dimension is 2 by 4. And this dimension is 2 by 2. I can't multiply these together. The problem is you need to put this matrix C, the one that they give you in the book, in front. So what I actually need to multiply right here, okay, is I need to multiply it with this in front. So it's going to take this and I'm going to multiply it by this. So now this is 2 by 2. This is 2 by 4, right? So the middle is the same. So now I can multiply it. And my new matrices are going to be the outside numbers. And what are the outside numbers? It's going to be 2, right, the outside, by 4. So let's start with creating the key. 2 rows, 4 columns. So we have row 1, row 2, column 1, column 2, column 3, column 4. I know it's tedious, but please do the key. So we have row 1, column 1, row 2, column 1, row 1, column 2, row 2, column 2, row 1, column 3, row 2, column 3, row 1, column 4, row 2, column 4. All right? Let's do some math. I know you're probably not as excited, but I have to sound excited. Here we go. The first one is row 1, column 1. Okay? So I'm going to have negative 3 times, sorry, the other way. 1 times negative 3 plus 0 times 1. Okay? Next one, we've done that so that I can just mark that. Next one is going to be row 2, column 1. So 0 times negative 3 and plus negative 1 times 1. Next is, oh, we did that. Now we're going to do row 1, column 2. So row 1, column 2. So we're going to have, I don't think I'm going to have room. Let's do it here. So we have 1, negative 3 plus 0, 1 times 0, negative 3 plus negative 1, 1. My apologies. I want to make sure I have room. Okay, next one. Row 1, column 1. Sorry, column 2. So we have 1, 0 plus 0, negative 1. Then we have 0, oh, this one is row 2, column 2. So 0 times 0 and negative 1 times negative 1. Next one, row 1, column 3. So row 1, column 3, we have 1 times negative 1 plus 0 times negative, no, sorry, 0 times 3. We have row 2, column 3. So row 2, column 3. We have 0 times negative 1 plus negative 1 times 3. And our final one, it says row 1, column 4. So row 1, column 4, we have 1 times negative 3 plus 0 times 4. And then our final one is row 2, column 4. So I have 0 times negative 3 plus negative 1 times 4. Good thing we moved it down there. So now, we're just going to do the math. 1 times negative 3 is negative 3, plus 0 times 1 is 0, so negative 3. 0 times negative 3 is 0, plus negative 1 times negative 1 is negative 1. This is 0, plus 0 times negative 1, so anything times 0 is 0. These are zeros, so I have negative 1 times negative 1, which gives me negative 1. I have 1 times negative 1, which is negative 1. No, this is positive 1, my apologies. This would be, is this a positive or a negative? This is a positive, right? Okay. So 1 times negative 1 is negative 1, plus 0 times 3 is just 0. 0 times negative 1 is 0. Negative 1 times 3 is negative 3. 1 times negative 3 is negative 3, plus 0 times 4 is just 0, so this is negative 3. This is 0, so plus negative 1 times 4 is negative 4. So, what this means when you're graphing, and it's going to ask you to graph, is that your pre-image is going to be these points. This is going to be your original. And when you want to graph your new one, you're going to do negative 3 comma negative 1 is your first point, 0 comma 1. So this is, let me just write it down. I want you to be able to graph it when the time comes. This is going to be my P prime. This is my E prime. This is my N prime. This is my T prime. Oh, I'm missing A. Well, let's just pretend for now, my apologies, that it is pent. So, you would have P prime, E prime, N prime, T prime. So this would be your image, and this pre-image, and this would be your image. And you would just graph those. So on these kind of questions, you would do all the math first, and then do the graphing. Not like the other one where you can do either or. So go ahead, this is pretty long, but go ahead and try page 189, number 10. Please pay attention to whether they're asking reflected or rotation because they're on different pages. So page 189, number 10, and I will see you in class. Good luck.